They say history shows itself slowly, starting as quiet warnings before it becomes impossible to ignore. But here in Germany, those warnings have already been written into law. On September 15, 1935, the Nuremberg Laws are announced. With the stroke of a pen, Jews are no longer citizens, no longer equals, no longer protected. And the world watches, and does nothing. Do not say they did not know. Do not say it came without warning, because the signs were there, clear as daylight, loud as thunder. Shops boycotted, livelihoods destroyed, families humiliated in the streets, rights stripped away piece by piece, as if humanity itself could be legislated out of existence. And still, the world debates. Still, it hesitates. By the late 1930s, hundreds of thousands of Jews are desperate to flee. They are not asking for charity. They are begging for refuge, for a place to live, for a chance to survive. They turn to the great nations of the world, to America, the land of promise, to Britain, the guardian of liberty, to Switzerland, to Sweden, to any border that might open, even just a little bit. But the doors remain mostly closed. The United States, so vast, so powerful, admits around 80,000 Jewish refugees. A large number, they will say, but not large enough, because more than 300,000 applied, and due to quotas, restrictions, and anti-Semitism, roughly 200,000 to 250,000 are turned away, or left waiting in endless uncertainty. Influential voices speak against them. Officials delay visas. Public figures stir fear. And a nation built by immigrants chooses limitation over compassion.
British-controlled Palestine, fewer than 60,000 are allowed entry. Strict limits, tight controls, even as the need grows more desperate by the day. In Britain itself, around 40,000 are admitted, among them 10,000 children, saved through the Kindertransport. 10,000 lives spared. But what of the others? Between 100,000 and 150,000 are refused entry into Britain, and hundreds of thousands more are blocked from reaching Palestine. Switzerland, neutral, secure, admits between around 10,000, but turns away roughly the same number at its borders. Men, women, children sent back to a place they are trying to escape, back to persecution or death. Sweden admits approximately 3,000, a small number, a fragile hope. Yet even here, resistance rises. In 1938, Sweden, alongside Switzerland, requests that Germany mark Jewish passports with a red J, a single letter that becomes a death sentence, a mark that makes rejection easier, a mark that tells the world these are the people you may refuse, and many are. In Sweden, students at Uppsala University recently gathered to protest the entry of just 10 Jewish doctors. Even students protest the arrival of just a handful of Jews. The smallest act of refuge becomes too much for some to bear. And then comes November 9th, 1938, Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. Synagogues burn, businesses are smashed, thousands are arrested. Jewish homes are destroyed before the eyes of their neighbors. The violence is no longer hidden. It is loud, it is public, it is undeniable. If the world did not know before, it knows now. And still, the doors do not open. Between 1933 and 1945, about 800,000 Jewish refugees will find refuge somewhere in the world. 800,000 lives saved. But how many more could have been? Historians say perhaps 800,000 to 1 million more might have survived if only the world had acted sooner, if only the quotas had been lifted, if only it wasn't for cowardice and anti-Semitism. This is not a story of ignorance. It is a story of hesitation, of excuses, of limits, of lines drawn on maps that decided who would live and who would be turned away. The tragedy is not only what was done, it is what was not done. Remember this moment, remember these choices, because history does not begin with catastrophe. It begins with silence, with closed doors, with the belief that suffering, if kept at a distance, is somehow acceptable. We knew. We saw the laws. We saw the burning synagogues. We had the room. Experts tell us that perhaps 1 million Jews could have been saved if we had simply turned the key and pushed the doors open. Instead, we hid behind quotas, temporary transit labels, and the comfort of our own borders. The tragedy isn't just what is happening in Berlin. The tragedy is the global coldness that made the Jew a human being with nowhere left to go.